Oregon laying 9.5 on the road at Arizona, 65 the total. I'll be watching intently. I already bet Oregon. I like them. I think Arizona is kind of overrated here with not getting double digits is I think just kind of a little bit out of line. The Ducks, more talented team, one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the country versus obvious quarterback issues for Arizona. Khalil Tate, will he play? If he does, he's pretty banged up anyway. And then you got little Rodriguez there throwing around. He's played all right. I don't think it's enough to stay within single digits of Oregon, though. Asher, we'll start off with you, man. Do you agree with me? You think the Ducks is the side here?
Drew, I'm 100% agreeing with you. And here's a couple reasons why. Arizona, it's another one of those cases where I think people get wrapped up in a head coach with a new offense. But the bottom line is this. Arizona actually has been gaining 80 yards less per game than Oregon. But here's the one I thought was really interesting. Red zone offense, Arizona is actually 22nd in the country. 74% of their drives in the red zone score. However, Oregon, 84%. But then this was the big one for me. Red zone defense. Arizona ranks 105th in the country. Can't make this stuff up. Way too big of a number. I think Oregon's offense way too high powered for that Arizona defense. Oh, by the way, Kevin Sumlin, he's only 15-17 against ranked opponents. This is a big bounce back game for Oregon. I like the Ducks on the road. Not afraid of the number, especially since it's single digits, like you mentioned.
Good stuff, Asher. What about you, big man? How do you look to bet the Ducks in Arizona here?
Yeah, I've been real disappointed in this Arizona team. I thought, coming into the season, I thought it was a kind of a match made in heaven. Noel Mazzoni and Khalil Tate. It's been a real house of horrors for them this year. And it's the same old problem. They can't stop anybody. 105th in total defense in the country. They just can't get stops. And you're facing one of the better quarterbacks out there. Justin Herbert should have no trouble winging the ball around. And look, I'll tell you what. I mean, I think a lot will be said about Mario Cristobal. I think he's a solid, hell of a coach, and I think it's kind of a good match there. But you look at what Jim Leavitt's done to this defense. I mean, remember when this team couldn't stop anybody? Remember those days?
Yeah.
They're 52nd in defense. I mean, 367 yards a game. They've gotten it going against the run, which I think against Oregon or against Arizona is always important. They've been able to run the ball pretty effectively the last couple games. I like what I'm starting to see out of this Oregon team. Other than one game, this team hasn't allowed more than 200 yards. So they're definitely improving. They're getting better against the run. And I like what I'm seeing. For me, I'm going to rock with Oregon here as well. I think Arizona's a lost cause. Their 3 wins this year: Southern Utah, Oregon State, and Cal. Big deal. I think Oregon runs away here.
Eric and Drew, I want to mention 2 other things really quick, about Arizona. First off, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're giving up 200 yards a game on the ground. So, I mean, pick your poison with Oregon. Do you want Herbert to throw it or do you want the Ducks to pound it? I mean, either way, Arizona defense is in for a long night. And the other thing, too, is how can you expect to be competitive against an Oregon offense when your team ranks 113th in the country with most penalties? I mean, guys, this is just I'm afraid of what's going to happen as far as offsides, holdings, pass interferences. It's going to be an ugly night as far as I'm concerned. That's why I like Oregon big.
Yeah, and going against Justin Herbert, I mean, they've had a couple bad losses, but he can throw it around. I believe he's probably the most talented quarterback as far as NFL potential goes in college football, and one of the best, college quarterbacks there are. So I like Oregon as well. A couple comments here. We got the other side of it. Oregon's season is over with that loss. It's hard to see them getting up here. I guess that's the argument if you are going to bet Arizona. I mean, does that scare either of you two off of this as far as motivation on the road?
I'll tell you what, Arizona is 46, 121, and 1 all time against the top 25. I'm not scared.
Okay. And big man, I'm guessing you either, huh?
I mean, when it comes from Tho Marino, I don't really respond to those comments, so no. I
didn't say his name because of you.
No, listen. It's actually not a bad point, really, which is surprising coming from him. But look, I think the goal for Oregon is, look, this season was over when you lost to Oregon or Stanford. Unfortunately, they got back off the mat. They won. They beat Cal. They beat Washington. This team is kind of got themselves off the mat a couple times. They could have passed teams from Oregon, like a Mark Helfrich type of team. When they lost to Stanford, they could have wallowed away and whined and cried about themselves, but they didn't. They went on the road. beat Cal, and beat Washington back at home. They got to bring themselves off the mat again. But you know what's great? You win here, get a bowl game. You could still kind of rectify the season, get some big games. I don't know that teams like Oregon think like that anymore. I know they're a great big-time team, but they're kind of in a rebuild stage, if you will. They're trying to win games. They're trying to get there and do some things after the Helfrich fiasco. So I don't think that will be a problem. And as like Asher said, Arizona's just continued to kind of embarrass themselves.
And big man, something you said earlier caught my attention. Cristobal as a head coach, I think he's pretty good. You know, I think he's underrated, and being able to keep Levitt on the staff there defensively has really helped him. I've said this a couple times before, Asher. I know you're down in Florida. That I think there should be a 30 for 30 at least show on what happened with Cristobal and his firing from FIU. He built that program, had one bad season,
pathetic.
and then he gets the boot. Did you ever know what happened there?
I'll tell you a lot of what didn't make sense, because not only did Pete Garcia eliminate Mario Cristobal from his head coaching position, he also eliminated the FIU marching band. So I'm pretty sure FIU is the only Division I football team in the country with no marching band and just a DJ in their 30,000 seat stadium. They also, don't forget, signed Isaiah Thomas as their head coach. Nothing FIU does makes sense.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.